have a child who is special needs, Jamaica can't help me. So I have to go to a country where I can work and send my child into a space that I know they are cared for and protected professionally. Jamaica doesn't offer that. So there are some things. I have my elderly parents.
Truth, culture, politics, no filter. This is Jamaica 87.
The Kingston School of Nursing, the last batch. I was a finalist last year, 2025 to 2026, of the NAG LASCO Chin Foundation Nurse of the Year competition. In the future, I want to become an actress.
That's a good one.
My name is Janet Wilson Powell, a registered nurse of the Mandeville Regional Hospital. I am a product of the Northern Caribbean University. I am a registered general nurse and a proud Manchesterian.
My name is Kadisha Smith. I'm an early career nurse who is employed at the Sir John Golding Rehabilitation Center, where I currently work for the past 5 years. I specialized in mental health. I was a 2023 shortlisted nominee for the Prime Minister's Youth Award. Oh. Yes.
My name is Carleen Miller, and I am a nurse manager of the Sir John Golding Rehabilitation Center as well. And Mr. Prime Minister, I crave your attention to look into Sir John Golding Rehabilitation Center. We have a lot of progress to make, and we have a lot to offer since we are the only rehabilitation center in the English-speaking Caribbean operated by the government, yet we are not trained. So we have to go out there to seek best practice for our patients. And may I remind us all that rehabilitation takes in every system of the body. And when our patients are spinal cord damaged, stroke patients, motor vehicle accident, wherever they come to us, we don't have enough space for our patients. And it's very critical that we look into rehabilitation of our patients, because all is not lost. Those that we get on time, marvelous are their prognosis, sir. So I'm begging and I'm pleading that someone looks into rehabilitative nursing in Jamaica. I also am a product of the Excelsior Community College School of Nursing and the University of the West Indies. I thank you.
I would not have known in rehabilitative nursing. This is not a specialty offered by any school, so it's an opportunity for a school to take it up. But I do take your point that government may very well have to be the first setting up a department or partnering with a school to do it. This is something that I will raise with the Minister of Health. And you mentioned the Sir John Golding Center. And that's been on our radar. And I will also see how best we can make some further investments there.
We had a total of 18 persons for both contests. Some of our students are not able to be here today because of the dynamics of the school system. But I'm happy that the representation is here, and I'm happy that I have my Nursing Student of the Year and my first runner-up Nursing Student of the Year. Just to say, sir, that part of the requirement from the LASCO Chin Foundation for our winners is a project. The Nurse of the Year would have done her iWin launch last week before last, in Manchester, the iWin project, where she's seeking to empower women and girls. And on Monday coming, we will all journey to Knapdale St. Anne for the execution of the project of our Nursing Student of the Year, and her project is an agricultural project. So just to say, highlight those two areas for our nurses, and to say to you, sir, that we are nurses and we don't only dress sore foot and serve medication. We have a lot of dynamic persons in nursing. We have teachers, we have lawyers. Our 2023 Nurse of the Year is a lawyer. Yes. So we have persons who move on. I have a lovely nurse in Manchester, Jodine Gale Gregory. She's a farmer, active farmer. At any time we can interact with our heads of state, it gives us great pleasure. And that is why I really didn't want these ladies to have missed the opportunity to have, and gentlemen, sorry, okay, to have met with you, because it is something that we look forward to.
Yes, it's something I look forward to as
It's
well.
something that we look forward to.
Let me congratulate those who participated in this exercise. Yes, I like that word, where you display your skills. I don't think anyone is a loser.
They don't feel that way.
No, it is merely a parade of skills. And I also want to commend the LaSalle Foundation for putting this on. I think it's a wonderful idea to have this kind of display of skills. They do it for the police, for education, and for nurses. And it is always good. I've interviewed and met with all the participants in the various categories, and I think it's good for our public service and the people who participate in it as well. You get to display the best of the profession. That's exactly what it is, and it serves as motivation.
Yes.
And so let me commend all the participants and congratulate the Nurse of the Year as well. Just by way of observation, I thought there would be more male representation in the professions. I think we should encourage more males to get involved in the profession.
About the student level, but they don't come up when they become registered nurses. Because the second runner-up nurse of the year is also a male.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So we had 3 of them in the competition last year.
Mm-hmm. Are you seeing more male nurses going into like emergency and mental health? Mm-hmm. That's
yes,
good.
They usually specialize, when the males come in, they specialize mostly in anesthesia, psychiatry, emergency nursing, and some critical care.
And and in critical care.
Some of them in education.
Mm-hmm. And what would be the ratio now between male and female?
The ratio is still small, sir. Maybe about 7 or 6% of our nursing fraternity is male.
Is it that care is just like naturally a female thing? Is it?
No, I wouldn't say that. I think it is how the males view nursing. It is a female-dominated profession in Jamaica, but if you step outside of Jamaica, we find, especially in the U.S., Canada, a lot of male nurses. Mm-hmm. Have a lot of male
But what would have
nurses.
attracted you to the profession?
I think it was a calling, really. So persons always say nursing is a calling, and I actually found my calling through nursing school. So somehow, even though I wanted to do medicine, the Lord guided me to nursing. And now I find that I'm enjoying nursing. I actually want to move further into nursing. My initial plan was to get into nursing and use nursing as a footstep into medicine.
Nothing's wrong with that.
But now I find that I actually want to stick into nursing. And one of my mentors, Nurse Magra,
You just discovered that.
actually is motivating me to want to pursue nurse practitioning in the future.
Good. Excellent. And would you recommend this to other young men
Of
who are
course.
seeking professions?
Of course, Mr. Holness. In fact, in my class group at Western Campus, UTEC, we have 6 meals in the batch.
Mm-hmm.
And in the first year batch now we have 11 meals.
Good. There is a shortage of nurses locally, believe it or not. Not a shortage of nurses generally, but I believe we produce enough to meet our demand if we could retain our nurses. That's the sense I get. So I'd love to hear your perspective.
In December of 2025, we would have registered 361 nurses. So you go to school for 4 years, You do your hospital examination, you are successful, but that doesn't make you a nurse yet. You must do the nursing council examination. Now, the nursing council is our licensing body.
The profession,
Right.
professional
So-
stage of the training.
Right. So they are then required to do the regional examination for nurse registration, commonly known as the RNR. That they have to pass that exam to practice as a registered nurse. So you can have a Bachelor's of Science degree in nursing, but you can't practice nursing. Because if the council does not permit you or register you, you can't work. We would have graduated 361 RNs last year. And
This is at the professional level.
yeah, none of those persons are yet employed.
But that's strange.
And it's not strange, it happens every year.
It is said we have a shortage of nurses.
Right.
Or- well, let me not say nurses. Let me say there's a shortage of professionals in
Yes.
the system. But then you have people who are not engaged. So I'm curious, why is that?
The HR policies of the Ministry of Health and Wellness are a challenge for nursing.
When you say the HR policies, what does that? Explain to me. I don't know enough about
All right,
the,
so
the
in
intricacies of the
HR
profession. So
So
help me to
many
understand.
moons ago, when I was employed as a registered general nurse, when we were placed, you went to the ministry, you get your letter and you go down to the ministry and you're assigned. Because when we did the exam, we had to say where we want to work. You don't must get it, but you put it down there. Because I wanted to work in Port Antonio and I don't reach up there yet. But you were assigned, and everybody who graduated was assigned. That no longer happens. Now, the current situation is that the HR management system is called the My HR Plus system. That system will not employ an individual if they are not able to align them to a post number. We don't have enough posts. That's the bottom line. There's a lot of semantics, but I'm just giving you a baseline. If you don't have a post number free, a person cannot be employed.
I've always been under the impression that we don't have enough healthcare professionals. We've recently
We have
given,
never had enough, sir,
We have-
and that is a reality.
Yeah.
Time gone by, it would have been because we didn't train enough. Then we were training enough, but we're not paying enough, so people were leaving. And people are still leaving. Because I would have articulated in the local space that people don't leave for money only. People leave for opportunities.
Yeah.
And people leave for some basic things, sir. People leave. I have a child who is special needs. Jamaica can't help me. So I have to go to a country where I can work and send my child into a space that I know they are cared for and protected professionally. Jamaica doesn't offer that. So there are some things. I have my elderly parents who need additional health needs. They can't get that here, and that's the basic. There's the impression that compensation review would have made nurses stay. It hasn't made us stay. Those of us who don't have any ambition are still here, but it hasn't made us stay. Because, I have to say it like that because that is what some people tell us, that we don't have any ambition, that's why we stay here. But we stay still, because everybody can't leave. That's how it goes. Everybody can't leave. I have my people here, so I have to stay with them. But at the end of the day, compensation review did not allow everybody to stay. And as I say, the policies of HR are frustrated persons out of the job. So you are appointed as a level 1 registered general nurse. You go and you do a post-basic training in midwifery, psychiatry, accident and emergency, operating theater, whatever it is. There's no post to appoint you in. Or if there's a post, somebody is sitting in the post who did admin but can't move up because there's no sister post. And the challenges go on and on. Prior to this, we used to employ people temporarily. So they are employed on a temporary, well, it's called a temporary employment, but they are employed. And they would be paid as registered nurses. We don't have that system anymore. You must be aligned to a post. Some of the dynamics we really would want persons to sit and understand and don't look at things just so. Because you look and you say, we have factors that are going against the employment of the new graduate. There are a lot of factors out there.
Bureaucracy defends itself.
Yes.
Always. I understand it very well. right? I mean, I am technically the head of the bureaucracy, but the way in which bureaucracy works is that it is self-preserving, and that prevents it from changing.
Yeah.
Once it gets entrenched into a position, it is going to defend it.
Yeah.
So what I try to be is, in terms of leading the bureaucracy, I understand that if the bureaucracy doesn't change, it will atrophy, it will die.
Yeah.
So it becomes a challenge to get the bureaucracy to change. Remember now, I am not a permanent part of the bureaucracy. I might be there a little longer than most, but my job is to change it. But the bureaucracy can become entrenched and say, who am I to be telling someone who is trained in the area understand the bigger picture to say change. So it's very important that I hear how do you see it? And then I try to understand how other people see it. Maybe there is something that is a balance of interest. Maybe the interests of the nurses have to be balanced against some other interests, and that's usually so I have to. This is why I'm saying always, let me get the understanding. So it's when you put the ideas in writing, a little bit more cogent, and then I can go on here, and that's how we make changes. So though I listen to you, and emotionally I'm drawn to your arguments, I also have to be prepared to listen to the other arguments logically.
Yeah.
So even though I'm emotionally driven by what you're saying, I need to understand it. Understand it logically. There's a sense that somehow the frustration of how healthcare is administered has kind of diminished the empathy and concern and the dignity with which patients are treated. What's your view on that? Is care less in healthcare today?
There are instances where the care appears to be less. And I'm not justifying the situation, but I can categorically say that sometimes it is the extenuated circumstances around a particular situation that will allow for people to feel like they are cared for less. Mm-hmm. Everybody is not on par with everything. So we have some nurses who maybe not so 100, they operate, because it's not everybody going to nursing for caring. Some going there as a professional. O'Keefe would have told you that in his initial dispensation, he came in for another reason. And there are many persons like that. Some persons didn't go into nursing to care. They went in, get the little experience, move foreign or another area. Because we have nurses who go into things like sales rep for drug agencies and so on. So you get the experience and you know how the things work and then you move on. But sometimes when persons complain about the care, what did they offer to us? Our patients can be very disrespectful. And they come with a preconceived idea. A patient walks into an A&E department that has 100 people before them, and they want to be cared for now. A patient is sitting in an A&E, and that is why the A&E departments are moving away from general patients. They will be in the A&E for a back pain they had 3 weeks ago. A motor vehicle accident takes place in a bus and 5 children come in. You are no longer priority, The priority now becomes the persons who are injured and needs to be assisted. And then complain and say, we don't care that. We can't be sitting. We cannot look at you. You are no longer a priority. Customer service would have said to you, you will now have an extended waiting period because they don't want to hear that.
So there are two sides to the coin.
Exactly. And I always say, sir, the Ministry of Health and Wellness has a complaints mechanism in place, and I always say if the internal customer was to complain about the external customer, they would have too much work to do. We are physically, we are mentally, we are not going to even talk about verbally abused. If I ever tell you some things that people who say them sick tell me, yes, very abusive, and not to mention the relatives. So when we talk about the care has to be both ways.
But isn't there a sense, though, that as professionals, the behavior of the patient, even excessive behavior, of the misbehavior, if you want to call it that, of the unreasonable behavior of the patient, is built into your professional training.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And we cope. We have those that when you talk to them, them come right down. But there are some who you can't talk to. Because if you are not, remember, if your head hurting is, your head hurting you. You don't business if her belly dropping out. You only know that is your head hurting.
So as a professional, you are trained, or should be trained, to be able to absorb the unregulated behavior.
Some of it you can absorb, sir. Remember that we are coming from society.
But at the end of the day, you're all human.
Coming from society.
So there's a threshold.
We are coming
that
from,
that
sometimes
you can
people walk away. Sometimes you ask your colleague because we work with it, And that's why I tell you we don't complain. Because sometimes the person might look at you and you look like somebody who did trigger them, Yeah. That is how they come to us, You see, you favor my mother. Hey, girl, and I said, they style you. You don't know them from birth. So sometimes you have to take yourself out of the equation and put another nurse in there who they might relate to at a different level.
So are you saying that the Mary C. Cole nurse is no longer possible in
the
Jamaica?
Mary C. Cole nurse is in Jamaica. See us here. Well, he might not Mary C. Cole.
Jestfully, I raise a question as to whether or not the Mary C. Cole typology of nursing exists anymore.
Because we have Mary C. Cole Day.
Of course,
Yes.
and I was reassured that all the nurses here bear the spirit. All the nurses bear the spirit of Mary C. Cole, someone who is going out of their way to help the patient, which essentially says that you are caring even when it is to your discomfort.
Yes.
You understand human suffering and you're patient with your patients. But in today's circumstances, where resources are limited, the ethos of the society may be different, where the number of persons seeking care has increased and expectations of the population are far higher than what the resources can deliver. It does lead to a confrontational situation in waiting rooms and in clinics and hospitals, particularly as it relates to waiting time and the speedy delivery of services. But it is important that the average Jamaican is reassured that when they do come to the healthcare system, it is for health, to get medicine, treatment, and recuperate, but it is also for empathy, for the care, and that the care is not absent from healthcare. And the reaffirmation of this principle here is very important. On the other side of the coin, there is without question, and having had fruitful discussions a while ago, that there are changes that are still needed, both from a human resource management point of view, an administrative point of view, but also from investment in capital point of view. And there are some critical capital projects that the government is investing in. The thought process behind the capital investments is that if we see capital as forming the kind of boundaries within which healthcare takes place. So the hospital is a capital investment, and it limits the number of beds you can have, the comfort of your waiting room, the equipment that you have. And our view is that if we rapidly build out the capital side of health, it will have an impact on the care side of health. So a nicer waiting area may reduce frustration. More equipment for diagnosis reduces waiting time. I've been to some hospital facilities, and I could understand why people are frustrated. It's hot, it's crowded, and problematic. So if we invest in the capital side of things, which we have, now capital investment is always a complicated undertaking. And we would have seen that in the Cornwall regional situation, where a facility that is almost 60 years old would not have had any form of major rehabilitation. We face a choice. We could either knock down the building and build up a brand new one, or rehabilitate the one that is there. Rehabilitating the one that is there, you have to be, giving service in it while at the same time trying to improve it. And that has had its own challenges. We are not going to do that again. So, for example, you will see in Spanish Town, we weren't seeking to rehabilitate what is there. We're building a brand new wing. And for KPH, we have also decided we're not going to try and rehabilitate what is there. We're going to build a brand new facility. And the objective, and that's going to be over time, but once you have a brand new facility, you can move services out of the old facilities, and then you can really take your time to either demolish or properly rehabilitate. And in the last 10 years, the capital budget for health has been significant. Huge capital budget for health in terms of what we have spent on rehabilitating facilities, particularly primary care facilities, new hospitals, new equipment. There's no question, if you compare the last 10 years versus the previous 10 years before that, the capital budget would be multiple times what we have spent. We have also spent on improving the remuneration of nurses. Now, I'm not going to get into that argument as to whether or not it is enough or whatever. I mean, the fact is that it has substantially improved. There's still more to do in that regard. So I want to give you the reassurance that the government that you have is a caring government, a listening government. But we're also, we like to think that we are very studied in what we do, so we don't just make emotional responses. There are a lot of things that we could respond to emotionally, but at the end of the day, it doesn't work out logically. And so we try to be respectful of the emotional things and bring people to the logical understanding of how things would have to be. So I'm not going to be here promising you that I can do all kinds of things that I can't do, right? But at least I understand where you want to go, and then we can work out a realistic plan as to how we're going to get there. And I always value my interactions with the nurses, aside from my own bias, in terms of just totally admiring how the nurses conduct themselves and the work that they do. But the dialogue that we've had have certainly worked to kind of influence policy from behind the scenes. So again, it's my pleasure, and congratulations to the nurses who participated in this lovely display of professional expertise and skills. And I want to again say how grateful I am for the service that you give to the nation.